So you build a house that was in your head, but after you place the last block, it looks off, and you have no idea why. Trust me, I've been there, and for way too long I thought that I needed more talent, more creativity, or some advanced knowledge of color theory. But it was never any of that. It was just these 20 things that I really wish someone would have told me when I started. So let's get into it. First up is the most important concept, your shape. Stop building one big box. If you take away one thing from this video, this is it. If you make a simple box, then no amount of detail is going to save it. So build like 2 or 3 shapes and push them together. That means you could create like an L-shaped house or a T-shaped house, but it's infinitely better than just a rectangle. Build on odd widths, like 7 blocks or 9 blocks wide. It's such a small thing, but it really makes a huge difference. The reason is because it gives you a true center block to align your doors, your windows, and your roof peak, and everything pretty much. Even widths can work as well, but especially for these type of medieval roofs, I think it's nicer to have one single center point. That being said, avoid perfect symmetry. You probably think symmetry looks clean and polished, but more often than not, it just makes it look a bit boring. So when you're creating your box extensions from tip 1, you can keep this in mind. So even if you're creating like a T-shaped house, you can offset the T so it looks a bit more interesting. So this applies to like the roof as well. So if you're planning to keep decor like a chimney or a window on your roof, then it looks much better if you offset it to the side rather than just keeping it dead center. Add a story divider between your floors. When you have more than one floor and your house becomes super tall, then your wall starts to look like one flat giant slab. But if you run this horizontal band all the way around the house at the same level as like the floor, and either push it inwards or tuck it out, then it really provides depth. You can also swap the material above and below this band to create some contrast. Build walls at different levels to create depth. A common one you've probably seen is taking the wall between 2 beams and pushing it back a block, but it also applies to the floors of your house as well. Imagine your house is like a perfect Jenga tower, then just pull and push a few blocks, and it feels like your top floors are hanging out over the bottom one. This pattern is called jettying, and it also works really well in modern architecture. Make your build look like it's actually holding itself up. In some of the corners of your frame, you can add these little diagonal triangles, and they look like the most engineering-y thing in the game. And where you have 2 beams crossing each other, then you can also let the edge poke out a block past the joint. Okay, now that our shape is good, let's tackle one of the things that most beginners struggle with, that being color. Pick your colors before you build anything. I like to mostly pick just 3 to 5 colors per house, where 1 would be the roof, 1 or 2 for the walls, and 1 or 2 for the outline. For example, if you want an orange roof, then you don't need to keep looking for orange wall and concrete. You can use pumpkins, you can use honeycomb, shroomlight, and they're the same type of orange, but just a bit more interesting. But texture with restraint, because more is not always more. I know every Minecraft YouTuber tells you to texture everything, but there's a lot of builds where I see that it looks overdone, especially when they use things like mossy stone bricks to imply weathering. So don't be afraid to only texture very lightly or just avoid it on certain walls, because that also means that the few places you do texture will stand out even more. Concentrate your detail where the building has bones and pile it onto one spot. So if you're adding trapdoors, for example, then instead of putting them dead center on the wall, they look much better if you keep them around windows or in the corners or the edges. Trapdoors and shelves are your best friend. Like, I don't think I have a single build without one. They act as window shutters, little plant boxes, and they can even be like caps on chimneys, story dividers, column arcs, and 100 other uses. I have a bunch of friends who actually don't even know shelves were a vanilla item in the game. These things were added last year in 1.20, 1.9, and they're insanely good for building. Okay, we're halfway there. The next section is, in my opinion, the biggest identity of a house, the roof. But real quick, if these tips are actually helpful, then do me a favor by liking the video and subscribing. This is my first video and I got a whole lot more coming. Do not trim your overhang with heavy blocks. Use small items like slabs or stairs to make it appear lighter and improve the shape of the roof. Add some shadows to the corners of your roof. You can pick a block which is a shade darker than the main roof, and then place it in areas where rainfall generally lands the most. Though if you're using copper like me, then you probably want to wax it. Otherwise, yeah. If you want to give your house some history, then you can also place some signs on the roof, and they look like someone patched a rain leak with them. Fill the big empty roof triangle. This gap is called a gable, and it's the best place to add a lot of detail. I like to keep a window in the center of it and decorate it with trapdoors and signs. But if it's big enough, you can even add a balcony. Add cornices under the roof, and this is my personal favorite. So look at this strip of wall right above your windows and under the roof. There's so many interesting ways to fill it. One way is to just use a flat row of trapdoors, slabs, fence gates, and those type of decorative blocks. But sometimes it looks good if you push it out a block and support it with these stairs. This one looks really good for bigger houses because it also looks like structural support. You can even get fancy and integrate it with the roof. Like here, I've alternated the slabs into a little checkered line with the roof stairs behind it. Last but not least is the finishing touches. This is the small stuff that elevates your house to the next level. If you're putting a window on every wall, leave some of them solid, because you need room inside for some furniture. It's much better to plan out where you want your blank wall to be before you realize there's no space to put anything inside. Upgrade your entrance with trapdoors. Some wood types like spruce have the same texture for their door and trapdoor, so using them together gives you this kind of grand modern entrance that a single door would never give you. Always check the back of your house. Unless you're building a house just for a screenshot, then the back of your house needs to look good too. So look all around for any areas that could use some texturing or some windows detailing, and then you can make your house look good from all angles. Avoid sticking to torches. Lanterns are a really good light source that you can put hanging from chains or trapdoors or along the roofline. And if you're going for a more modern build, then you can use light blocks like frog lights or glowstone and tuck it behind trapdoors or other decorations, so you can get the glow effect from any block. Let the nature climb into your build. I usually trail moss blocks or leaves all over the roof and sometimes the walls, which is really good at injecting some green color to the roof, but also giving it some story, like your build's been around for a long time. And of course you can just use leaves around the base of your wall, just like bushes or landscaping. And finally, landscape the ground around your house, because it completely changes the vibe. For this barn house, I scattered coarse dirt and pods all around the path, and then added fitting decor like flowers, grass, and hay bales. So now it actually looks integrated into the surroundings. And that's all 20, but wait a second. Everything here is just a generic tip that I apply to a single house. But there's a building mod that does all 20 of these and more to your build directly in the game. So click here to see what it can do. I'm not gonna lie, this mod is really cool, but I might be biased because I helped make it.